I'm on the marketing team at SnapAV, and I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. Before we get started, I want to let you all know that we'll have some time at the end of the presentation for Q&A. So please send in your questions anytime throughout the presentation through the question and answer panel on the right side of your screen. We'll also be asking a few more poll questions throughout the session, and these will pop up right on your screen just like you saw while you were waiting. And lastly, a recorded version of this webinar will be available after the presentation and will be sent to you by email within the next couple of days. Okay, now I would like to introduce today's presenter, Aham Araknis. Aham is the category manager for Araknis networks at SnapAV and manages the research and development process for all of our networking products. He's been with SnapAV for almost 3 years and in the networking industry for almost 10 years, working at big companies like Nortel and Huawei. Welcome, Aham.
Thanks, Heidi. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I hope this session will be informative for you. Our goal is to have a series of webinars for Araknis. This will be the first of the series. We will follow up with a survey asking you about what we should do next. So this will be more of an overview on the solution. We will do a mix of kind of the product design, the business aspects, and some technical aspects as well. And we'll do some product demos. So we already started with the first poll that you guys were logged in to see it. So Heidi, can we see the results of that?
Oh, I thought we move on to the next one.
I thought we don't. Can we see the first results?
Yes, we can.
There you go. So we asked you which one of the phone products you buy it from us, and thanks a lot for those who buy. We really appreciate your business. And for the non-buyers, I really hope that this will be informative for you. This makes sense for us because the switches have been in the market for the longest time and the routers are the newest in the market. So very thankful for the business. So I will start with the kind of from the product development perspective. When we started Araknis about 2 years ago, we had multiple conversations with dealers like yourself. We went on job sites. We shadowed. We had dealers in our offices and roundtables. We did multiple surveys, and basically all the pain points that you guys expressed kind of go around those 3 themes. The first theme is I want to make profit on networking products. Some of you are happy with their networking products, but they're not making money off of them because they're a price shop. Some of them are going to consumer grade because kind of afraid to go into the business grade level product. So that was a theme that we saw. And the second one is robust solution. You need performance, you need reliability. Network is the backbone of everything now. So you guys were realizing what's going on in the market and the solutions, and you expressed very loud and clear the need for performance and reliability. And the third one was due to the setup. So what we saw in the field is, even from the same vendor sometimes, you go to one product to the other product, and the experience is different. The setup is different. Sometimes the acronym is different and what it means and where you can find it. So there's definitely an opportunity for us going into the product line to make the setup experience more seamless and more consistent across the line. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into what kind of problems and issues that we saw in the field by talking to you guys. So the first problem here we saw is that, hey man, I wanted the best performance for AV. I want the best networking solution, the best performance, and I want a vendor and a brand that promises and delivers that solution. So what we've done for Araknis is that our line, except for the 128 access points, everything is gigabit. And everything is line rate gigabit. And that was by design, or that was by choice. We said that we need to give you the best enterprise or business grade product and performance to serve not only the current needs, but also the future needs. So we realized that we saw some products in the market that were 100 megabits per second, some of the IP cameras and some of the touch panels. But we realized that having a gigabit solution will be very future-proof for your solution, your customer solution. And by going through a business-grade level of components and chipsets, we ensure that performance is seamless and that the reliability is up to your standards. So also, we took it the next step with certification and standardization, and we made sure that every single entity that we can certify, we approach. So all our products are CE and FCC certified. They are UL rated, and for the wireless access points, we also Wi-Fi Alliance member, and all our products are Wi-Fi certified. We also took it to another level where we went to TOLLY, which is a third-party vendor-neutral entity, and we had them validate our performance against competition and other established brands in the market, just to add that layer of confidence and trust. So the second one we saw, the second issue is, hey, I need to make sure that the network works. My networking gear needs to be reliable, needs to be bulletproof, and we made tremendous investments in terms of personnel, processes, and tools in order to assure that performance. So part of our standard going to the product design for each product is that we spec twice the standard IT level for ESD and surge, because we recognize that these products are installed in U.S. households, and we get a lot of lightning strikes, unlike other parts of the world. And then we put all the products into excessive environmental testing. So you can see on the lower end, this is our thermotron. We use in our labs. So we go through from 0 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius, from 10% to 90% non-condensing humidity, and then we stress it beyond. Each unit is stressed beyond that spec, and we keep stressing it until it breaks. And we see if we have kind of a headway in terms of product lifetime reliability, and see if we have any kind of vulnerability in the board design. Then the second tool that we have in our labs, it's a six-figure tool investment. You can see it in the middle here in the picture. It's a Spirent Test Center, and this is a protocol level testing that we do for our switches, access points, and routers. And basically, we generate line rate gigabit Ethernet frames from this tool. And this is an enterprise level product, actually a service provider level product that fits a lot of high-end products. And we make sure with this test that we test all ports and all the products to the extreme, so they can handle the traffic going through them as advertised. Then on top of that, so this is more the engineering level testing, we add the application level testing, and this is where the CDM market focus comes in play. So we built a full lab in our offices that has full control system and URC system. We have full sound system. We have full Apple ecosystem, and we bolt on that through our process with extensive real-time beta testing with our dealers. So some of you are on the phone. We appreciate your help and your input through the beta process. We certainly opened the door for more beta sites and beta dealers to be involved during the product development process as well. And then you can see the last piece of equipment that you see is the PoE loader. So all PoE switches are subject to full PoE loads from the PoE loader, 32 watts across all ports at the same time, and we just stress those products. The third problem that we addressed is, and setting up is difficult across devices. From different brands, it's difficult, and across the same brand, sometimes it's inconsistent. And when we went into the product design from a GUI perspective, we just made sure that everything is laid out. And I'll go through the demos, and you will see how that's laid out. But basically, by looking at those three screenshots across those three product lines, they look the same, they feel the same, everything is structured in the same methodology and design. It's not so intimidating, and I'll explain more about the design methodology. The fourth problem we found is that when you buy and you try to purchase your networking gear, you have the paradox of choice, because some of the brands are catering towards the masses, not towards Cydia specifically. So I take an example here of Netgear. So if I'm logging into Netgear website, I pick switches line. I see like 5 different choices. I pick one of the choices, which is Smart Switch. I see 5 different lines, and within those lines, I pick one of the lines, and I see a lot of SKUs there, and it's a lot of filters on the left. It's just a lot. So what we've done is that we've tried to make it very focused product line by going into design and make sure that, hey, if you want an entry-level job, you're at the 100 series level. If you want a performance-level job, you're at 300 series level. So, for example, your unmanaged switch is a 100 series. Your managed and managed PoE is a 300 series. If you have your single band access point is 100 and your dual band access point is 300. So it's very simple. It's very easy for you to relate to and make your purchasing decisions. The fifth problem that we found is that you can't make money on networking. So what we did is that Araknis line is price protected through SnapAV. And the dealers, we give them about 40% margin on MSRP level. And there's no price shopping. We don't advertise any pricing outside of SnapAV. So you have to be a dealer with Snap in order to get the pricing. And I want to just highlight for those folks that gave us feedback that we need to raise the MSRP. And we offer full, reliable, and superior performance. And it's very installer friendly, and we have consistent GUIs across the line. And OVRC is our cloud-based platform that provides that remote management level. So that's how we look at things in the home environment. So networking is becoming the backbone. Everything is converging towards a full network solution. So it used to be just your laptops and your tablets and your smartphones, but now you see the control system, the surveillance system, your whole house audio system. Everything is IP enabled, and that puts a lot of pressure and a lot of importance on the network itself. And if you unveil what the network solution is, we see it the switch being the backbone, the access points being the roaming and mobility, and the routers being the gateway. And with that being said, I'm going to start the second poll here, so it gets God's feedback, and it's a couple minutes. So this is a question that we asked before, and we'd like to get your feedback again. Is as a dealer, when you choose your networking product line, which one of these options is the most important? So it's one out of those options. I know that usually there's, it's competing between number one and number two. So pick up your most important, the number one important aspect, and we'll give you guys a couple of minutes to answer. So Heidi, you want to share the results with us?
Sure. Here they come.
Great. I love it. So definitely speaks to what we've seen in the market and what's seen in our conversation with you guys, and definitely speaks to our investment path and going forward. So I'm going to jump into the first line of the product, which is switches product line, which is based on your or buying now. This is the most popular one. So the switches line, we launched the switches line back end of 2014. Actually, end of 2013. Correct myself. It's the beginning of 2014. And currently in the market, we have a total of 22 SKUs. So we have a 100 series, which is the unmanaged line, the 300 series, which is the managed, and the managed PoE. And for each line, we offer 816 24 port, and we add a little 5 port for the 100 unmanaged. And then we supplement the line with some accessories, so the PoE injectors and some SFPs that go with the managed ports. And then from a performance perspective, we went to TOLLY and benchmarked against two competitors here. We recognize the AV guys, they have tendency to go through package, and the IT guys go through Cisco. So we went to TOLLY and we sent our 300 series switch, 24 PoE, and they did a full bandwidth test. So you can see from the results here that on a full LAN-to-LAN performance test, all three solutions, they scored the same. They all equally performing the same in the same manner. And so again, we can't share prices, unfortunately, but you can see, directionally, from a pricing perspective, package tend to be on the higher end of the market, while we tend to be very close to what Cisco and Netgear is. But we think from a product design perspective, and you guys who have bought the switches, they know this. We offer two flavors of EQ, either a front port or a rear port. And the rear port is called the AV rack, and that was based on a lot of feedback from you guys during product design, that you would like to hide all the cables and everything in the back end and just install the switch in the front with LEDs on the front that show off the switch to the customer, and everything is working fine. So we have the rear port version, which is an AV rack, and the front port version is towards the commercial jobs when they have structural wiring panel, and then you can just front load the connection. But on the bottom here, you can see also we went a little bit further in terms of installation, and we added rack ear holes on both front and rear of the device, and we have this unique rack ear design that allow you to do multiple mounting options. So you can install the switch on the front of the rack or the rear of the rack, the front of the device or the rear of the device. You can have it fully flush, recessed. You can do it 90-degree angle on the wall. You can do it in both sideways on the ceiling. It's really very versatile in terms of the installation and the mounting options to give you more options where you go into your job. And on top of that, so all this reliability, all this performance, and all this install friendliness, it's starting from March this year, we sent out a firmware update that makes the 300 series switches cloud-enabled via OVRC. And with OVRC, we add a lot of features that will demo there in the presentation. But basically, you can have all those features for free. So if one of the switches goes online or offline, you get notification. You can see it. If you want to change its IP address, it's DHCP out of the box now. So if you want to put it on static IP, you can go to OVRC account. You don't have to look for it in advanced IP scanner or whatnot. And you can just change it through OVRC, give it a name remotely. And this way, when you go back and troubleshoot the job, you know exactly what switch you're going through and what location. And also, you can go on each port and give it a name. So if you have an Apple TV connected to port number 3, just name it Apple TV, and this way, if there's a problem with Apple TV going forward, immediately go to that switch and that port specifically. For PoE models, very powerful features that you can power cycle PoE ports remotely. So in case that you have an IP camera and the customer calls you and, hey, it's locked up and you just need to reboot it, you can pull up your phone, launch the OVRC app, go to that site, go to that switch, to that port, power cycle it, and problem solved. Customer's happy. You've been very successful in attending to his problem. You don't have to roll up a truck. It saves you a lot of money, and it gives you just better representation in terms of support to your business. And a very important feature is the firmware update. So as we roll out firmware updates, we recognize these electronics. You always have to fix some problems. We always have small bugs here and there that we roll out, maybe add new features. You can do remote firmware updates through OVRC, and that's a very powerful feature. And also recognize that through OVRC, not everything that you see on the local UI can be accessed through OVRC. So we added the ability to remotely launch the local UI of the device via OVRC. So with that being said, we'll start the third poll about the switches. So we recognize that we have a full line now of switches, but there's always room for more. And I would like to send a question, which of the following concepts would you like to see next from Araknis? And you can pick multiple ones. Give you a couple minutes. All right, Heidi, so let's see the results.
All right.
Great. 48 port and 10 gigabit. Perfect. I'd like for those of you guys who said we need 48 ports, just to say that we are in development of 48 ports. We will show some mock-ups during CEDIA. So definitely on track, and we'll follow up with the guys to say the other options. So thanks a lot for the feedback. All right, so the second product line that we have is the access points. And the way we look at the access points in the home environment, so we say that what are the driving forces to have better Wi-Fi at home, and especially at high-end residential CEDIA market. And at the top, you see that there's this explosion of smartphones and tablets in the end consumer realm. And obviously, because you're serving the do-it-for-me crowd, the penetration of those devices in that crowd is very high. So there's definitely a trend towards more mobile. And with millennials now, that there's a lot of studies about millennials, that their purchasing habits, their buying habits. And you can see there was a clear tendency towards consuming media over those smartphones and smart devices. And that's being done over Wi-Fi. So if you look at the Netflix of the world, if you look at what Sonos has done with the Pandora and the Spotify, a lot of high and media-rich content is being consumed on 10 devices over Wi-Fi. On top of that, we see a lot of home automation companies like Control4 and Crestron. They're rolling out Wi-Fi-based touch panels and Wi-Fi-based remote control. So everyone's moving towards Wi-Fi. And now this is the big thing that's happening in the industry probably for the next 5 to 10 years is Internet of Things. So more and more small devices and smart devices connected to your home over some wireless standard, and Wi-Fi being one of them. So when you look at the, just a quick introduction on Wi-Fi and our theory, and we will do more extensive dive in later webinars, probably in blogs. But the Wi-Fi spectrum, you got 2 radios that are license-free. So these are 2 radio spectrums that nobody has to pay anything to anybody in order to operate on. And these are the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz. And the analogy I have for both is the difference between the both is the highway. So the 2.4 gigahertz being the narrow highway, and the 5 gigahertz radio being the wider highway. So you can see, as in real life, the smaller highway, the narrower highway, has more congestion, but it goes further, and it's been established and built first. And the bigger highway has more lanes, can have more capacity, but goes less distance, and it's newer. So that's what's difference between 2.4 and 5 gig. And you can see in 2.4 there are 3 non-overlapping channels, and with 5 gig you have multiple non-overlapping channels. But the problem also with 2.4, because it was early on in the market and it was like the first one that is license-free, that a lot of other consumer products utilize 2.4 a lot. So your ovens in kitchens, your microwaves, they all emit interference on 2.4 radio. So that's why it's very congested and has lower speeds. Now, if you look at the evolution of Wi-Fi technology in general, you can see back in the late 90s, the first 802.11 standard was released that enabled wireless technology in networks, and that at that time was 2 megabits per second maximum throughput, and it was a buzz. I mean, it was a lot of excitement about just having the ability to not carry your laptop or your desktop with you, just roam free. And you can see it starts, evolving towards higher band throughput on both the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bandwidth. Now where we are, in the wireless AC standard era. It's just actually past couple of months past wireless N as the mainstream wireless standard. But the good thing about the standardization is that everything is backward compatible. So if you have a wireless N access point, it can support wireless G and wireless B and wireless A. If you have wireless AC, it can support wireless N devices and wireless G and so forth. But now we are in the transition point between two mainstream technologies, wireless N being in the decline as a mainstream technology, and wireless AC being on the rise. So what we've done is that we released 2 new access points March this year, the 100 series and the 300 series. And the difference between the two is the 100 series is the entry level, it's single band, so it supports only 2.4 gigahertz radio. And the 300 series is your performance level wireless and kind of mainstream at that time that supports both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz concurrent. So both models are high power. Both models, they have 29 dBm of output power, which is about 800 milliwatts. The 5 gigahertz radio on 300 series is 26 dBm. Like I mentioned before, the 100 series access point is the only one that has a fast Ethernet uplink in the line, and that's just because it's a budget product, it's an entry-level product, and wireless N on 2.4 gigahertz can support more than 150 megabits per second nominal. But you'll get about 35 to 60 tops actual throughput, given all the interference. Both models are standard PoE, so we are big believers in standardization. So both models can be powered by 802.3AF or 802.3AT products. The nominal speed on Wi-Fi, 100 series is 300 megabits per second, and 300 is also 300 megabits per second. Both they have 2x2 omnidirectional antennas, and they're both OVRC enabled. So same thing with switches. We went to TOLLY, and we commissioned them to do a vendor-neutral benchmark testing against what we see as competition. So we went and put our 1 series against UAP-LR from Ubiquity, AP1230 from Luxel, and package W6. And the test was done in a home environment. There was some interference there, but it was consistent, so didn't skew the results, but across the line. On 3 devices, 3 clients, there are 2x2 at various distances from the access points. And we took the average or the aggregate throughput, and you can see in some cases we performed a little bit better, in some cases a bit behind, but the point here is that all 4 usage solutions are consistent or in the ballpark in terms of performance. But again, if you look at the viewer cost, you see the variances between the solutions. And so some dealers will pay a little bit extra, assuming that they gain more performance, but that's not the case. So this is on 2.4. We did the same on 5 gigahertz. So you can see the results are also consistent with 2.4 gigahertz on 300 series access point, Luxel XAP 1500, UAP Pro, and package W7. There are some comments probably why we use 2x2 clients. Frankly speaking, from a mobile perspective, you can't see, we couldn't find 3x3 clients. I mean, iPhone 6s recently moved from 1x1 to 2x2, and this is the latest iPhone. It's really hard to find any client that is mobile that is not 1x1 or 2x2. Now, when it comes to product design, we spend a tremendous amount of time just designing the product from a housing perspective, because we recognize this is probably the only line that is consumer-facing. So we need to make sure that it's very consumer-friendly when it comes to high-end resi. So we did square design, and it was a conscious design decision that we took between round and square. It's because we looked at where those access points are being installed, and we recognized the vast majority is going to be on ceilings. But we saw also 2 applications, one of them being drop ceilings, the other one being wall installations. And when you put a round-shaped access point on those situations, it just draws attention. It looks a little bit off from a design perspective. And our design mentality and intention for the access point is to make it as silent as possible. So we do not want the consumer to draw attention to this access point whatsoever. So that's why also we had no LEDs on the top of the device. When we were in the field, we saw those access points being installed in living rooms and bedrooms, and the last thing that the consumer wants 2 o'clock at night when it's pitch dark is a couple of LEDs blinking at them from the ceiling. So that's why we had minimal branding, no LEDs on top, square design, just install this thing as silent as possible. From a side perspective, you can see also the side profile is very minimal, it's very low profile. And there's only one LED, a status LED, and that was by design as well. So that status LED gives you only 2 readings. If it's solid, it's working great, no problem. If it's blinking, there's a problem, call tech support. That's the only thing that you need to do as an integrator. And also keep it as solid all the time, because we do not want to draw any attention to it. If it's casting shadow, if it's casting some light on the wall, you do not want to have any LEDs. And by the way, this LED can be turned off via firmware. So in case you want to make it super silent, you can turn it off. Now, on the back of the device is when we spend the majority of our efforts. We want to just make sure that the installation of those access points is as seamless and as easy as possible. So you can see we have embedded rubber feet. So if you have a shelf application on top of a desk, on top of the rack, in a closet somewhere, you just unbox the access point, plug the cable in, it works. You just put it through, you don't have to install your rubber feet. So it's very fast installation. We also added mounting bracket holes for toolless installation. You can see it in the mounting bracket. But also you can see there's only one way this access point can be mounted to the mounting bracket, and they have variable sizes for the bracket holes. We added also the cable management, a wire management mechanism here. So in order to route the cable out of the access point, you can tuck it in between those lips nice and neat. And there's one reset pinhole in case you want to hardware reset it. Now the bulk of our effort went into the mounting bracket. And the mounting bracket that you see in the picture, it had a lot of thought and trial and error during design. So we can see, the first thing you can see is the up arrow. So this directs you to where you want to install, how you want to install the access point or the bracket. You can see we can support up to 5 different junction box scenarios with letters engraved on which ones we can support. And the legend is also with a bracket, and then just slide in the access point and install. These are the mounting hooks that you can see. They are different sizes. There's only one way to slide it in. It's toolless installation. You don't need any special tool to mount it or unmount the access point. And because it's sliding action, we added those lips on the bottom to protect you from oversliding the access point and breaking the mounting hooks. So we feel very proud of what we've done, and I think the market feedback has been very great on the design. But if you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to reach out to us. Then we took from the product design to the installation mechanism, and we found out when you guys go to the field and you have 2 or 3 access points in the job that you want to install, usually they tend to be static IP, all the same IP. Then the installer has to plug them in, go to their wired connection or wireless connection, change the IP address of that subnet, which is usually outside the normal subnet, go log into the access point, change its IP, go back again. It's a lot of unnecessary steps. So what we said, out of the box, the access point is DHCP. So put it in a live network, it grabs an IP address, it connects to the internet, connects to OVRC. It advertises a default SSID called Araknis initial. You can log in, just connect to that Araknis initial, log in to the web UI using an IP address or URL, or you can go to OVRC and just change your IP address. So you got multiple options just to make your installation very easy and very seamless. And it's OVRC enabled, so it's cloud enabled. What we offered now with OVRC at launch is we call it just phase 0. It's very basic features. Just see if it's online or offline. Just change the device name and IP address and perform some firmware updates and access the local UI remotely. But coming soon, very soon actually, you can create, edit, delete wireless networks from OVRC. You can see traffic histogram per device, so you can see if if somebody calls you, say, hey, last night I did not have any internet access, I think your network was down. You can go back to that hour and see if wireless was down or if the ISP was down. And also with a firmware update, we will support multi-access point handoff. And with that being said, I will start a quick demo on the wireless access point. And this is actually my sample. I have a 300 series access point in my apartment. So you can see I'm logging in. And I apologize, I'm running a beta firmware, so OVRC is not connected. But logging in, you can see this is the design methodology of our GUI. Everything is laid out very nicely. It's not very intimidating. It's very inviting, yet you find all the information you need in the GUI. So everything is kind of grouped in 4 buckets. Status, I want to see stuff. Settings, I want to configure stuff. Maintenance, I want to maintain or do some basic troubleshooting for the device itself or the network. And advanced. So we followed the 80-20 rule and said, like, what are the 20% of features that 80% of you guys need on every job? And those features are exposed under settings. And everything else is really hidden under advanced. So you still get the full featured product, but it's under advanced. If you don't need advanced feature, you don't even have to go to that menu. So you can see, you got the 2.4 gig radio and 5 gig radio. Get a lot of information about the MACs, the number of networks, the number of clients, and TX/RX counters. Also, you go to the wireless status and interface, and you get even a deeper dive on what kind of interface is enabled or disabled, what kind of mode are you running, what channel bandwidth. Is it auto? Is it static? Or a lot of counters. Also, you can see what kind of wireless networks that you created, at what radio, what is the security mode, MAC address, if it's broadcasted or not, and you get your client table. This is still in beta, but the client table that you see in the production model has everything but the status mode here, and you can see color-coded signal strength value for each client. So I got I think that's one of my iPad. This is my iPad, not far from the access point, and I got a desktop that's connected to it. But very easy to use, very easy to navigate. Firmware updates can be done locally or through OVRC. So this file management is when you do all your configuration backup, you do all your firmware updates. You can also go and do some pings from the access point to any IPs in the network. Creating a wireless network is very easy and seamless. You just go to the wireless setting, and here's your wireless table. You can just click Add, give it a name, select the interface. You can create SSID on both radios in one click, in one step, and just click the security mode and get your settings done. Also, it supports guest networks, so it's a fully featured product. Like we said, you can enable guest network on each radio and go from there. The one thing that we found from products, from discussions and then technical support, is that supports like 2-step process. You need to save when you do the changes. So if I do a test here, and I click save, it gives you this little progress bar. You wait until it's done. And once it's done, you need to apply the settings here. And also, we found out that you don't need to go to the manual to read some of those jargon and kind of the technology piece of it. So we added a lot of help bubbles for the tech in case that they want to go and say, okay, what is the wireless mode? I got multiple options. What does each option mean? So we spent a lot of time also making meaningful help bubbles that are excerpts from the manual, so you don't have to pull up the manual and read what that option means, right? So what does band steering mean? You can read, the tech can read and decide if they want to enable or disable it. So this is a 300 access point, and the band steering here means that if the client is connected to 2.4 radio and the access point detects that it supports 5 gig radio, it automatically moves that client to 5 gig radio in order to reduce the traffic on the 2.4 radio and give the client the best experience possible. So that's quickly a demo on the local UI of the access point. And that being said, we launched our 4th poll for the access point. Right?
Great.
So similar to the switches, we recognize that we launched the access point in March, and there's a lot of headroom for us to add to the line. So which one of those products would you like to see next from Araknis? I'll give you a couple of minutes. All right, let's see the results. Great. The two big options are high-powered wireless AC and omnidirectional outdoor. Happy to tell you that your wish will be fulfilled very, very soon. So at CDA, we will demo our new line of access points, and you will see wireless AC, high power, and also omnidirectional outdoor. All right, we'll move on to the third and the final product line that we launched very recently, actually. So last month we launched our router. It's a 300 series router. So it's a dual band product. It supports load balancing and leak failover. So it has two WAN interfaces that you connect to two ISPs. So for example, you can connect it to Verizon and Comcast, and have one of them as the primary and one of them is the backup, or have them both primary and they can do load balancing mode. It has 4 LAN interfaces, and all interfaces are gigabit. Both the WAN and the LAN interfaces are gigabit. It has embedded firewall. It's not a firewall product for the IT guys. It has some level of protection. It's not a full-featured firewall. Supports obviously port forwarding, VLAN, plethora of VPN technologies, and IPv6. So similar to the switches, we went to TOLLY and we benchmarked against Cisco, Luxel, and Package. And we did 2 tests actually. We did LAN-to-LAN throughput test and WAN-to-LAN throughput test. So with LAN-to-LAN, you can see from the results that us, Package, and us, Cisco, and Luxel on smaller frame sizes, we all scored the same. But what we were kind of surprised to see Package RE1 not performing optimally when it comes to the LAN throughput. Part of the process with TOLLY is that TOLLY will reach out to those vendors that didn't score favorably, reach out and ask them for their support. Unfortunately, Package couldn't answer or get back to TOLLY in a timely manner. With Luxel, so jumbo frames was interesting. We found out at the beginning only us supported jumbo frames, and TOLLY reached out to Luxel, and Luxel was able to spin off a alpha firmware to support jumbo frames, and they scored favorably. Cisco and Package did not respond. But jumbo frames, so if you see what jumbo frames and why jumbo frame matters. So we found out that you guys, when you go to the job site, you install your router, you feed one of the switches on the router, and you tend to put a NAS server, a media server, some kind of content backup or content streaming device on the router itself. And this way, you need to support the maximum amount of bandwidth going through the LAN interfaces of the router. So if you have a computer that is plugged in, or an Xbox plugged in hardwired to a switch that's connected to a router LAN interface, but that Xbox is streaming content from a NAS drive on the second LAN interface, you need to ensure that the maximum bandwidth can be allocated towards that traffic. And jumbo frame basically takes one Ethernet frame and maximizes the payload in order to deliver that high bandwidth and high content streaming media through the LAN. So that's why we feel very strong about jumbo frame, and we're kind of actually surprised that both Cisco and Package did not support it. And so we went also to do the WAN-to-LAN throughput, which was the one that I think most of you are interested about, which is, because if I have, 100 megabit per second connection from my ISP, how much of it I'm getting through the router? So with TOLLY, we tried to maximize the speed on each of those products, and you can see different frame sizes that us and Cisco were very close. We're closer to 500 megabit per second bidirectional. Package was kind of also surprising to see a maximum of 130 megabit per second WAN-to-LAN throughput. With Luxel, unfortunately, the test tool, which is Ixia, could not perform the test on Luxel piece. And TOLLY reached out to Luxel, and there's some incompatibility between the tools that we could not report the results. So we choose not to report the results. So I don't think that Luxel is zero. So not if Luxel guys are on the call, we are not zero, but we don't know what the maximum throughput is. We think it's closer to 500 meg. Now, when it comes to installer friendliness, we make sure that we listen to you very carefully and where do you install those products on the router. And we saw a very high tendency towards rack installation. So we made sure that the router is 1U rack mountable. It comes with the rack gears. You don't have to pay anything extra for it. And it follows the same multi-mounting option that we had with our switches. So it's consistency across the line in terms of experience. So it's the same rack gear design. You can mount it on the front and the rear. You can do it flush, recessed. You can do it 90-degree angles and then put it on the wall or the ceiling. We started with the AV design because honestly it was the most popular port orientation that we had from the switches. So we just want to kind of consolidate the product line more. So you get ports on the back and LEDs on the front. And it also has the same GUI design that we had for the access points. And it's OVRC enabled. So out of the gate, it's going to have, today, we have those basic features for OVRC. You can see the router is online or offline. If it falls offline, you get a notification and you can call your customer and say, hey, did you reboot anything? Is your ISP down? How can I help you? We had a couple of instances from dealers that called us and thanked us for this feature. You can change the device IP address remotely or names, or you can give it a name that's associated with the job site. You can do firmware updates, and you can access the local UI through OVRC. But coming very soon, you can see the client table and do the HTTP reservations via OVRC. You can see traffic histogram on the WAN interfaces. And this way, if a client calls you again, says, hey, my network was down, you can go to the router and see the WAN interface at that time and find out if the ISP was down or was it actual network. It gives you an extra step forward towards finding out where the problem was. And you can do port forwarding remotely with the new firmware updates. So I'll do a quick demo on, again, my own router in my home. Obviously, we have DNS, so we can, as you see on top, we have Araknis DNS. We got very good feedback about the Araknis DNS, that with having Araknis DNS or DDNS supported the router, you don't need to go to all those different devices and set up DDNS for each one of them. All you have to do is do one device, which is on the router, and just do port forwarding across the board. So you log in, it's the same design methodology. It's very easy to read, well laid out. Everything is on the left navigation menu. We get the same 4 buckets: status, settings, maintenance, and advanced. A lot of things that we try to automate, and a lot of information we try to add on the router side. So you see the system time. We're connected to OVRC here. If you go my clients and services, this is my DHCP table. I have, I get my names, I get IPs, I can do my DHCP reservation very quickly by click of a button. And also you get the forwarded ports. So I can go and see what ports are open now on this shop side. Is somebody from the inside trying to do some malicious attack by opening ports that are not needed. And if I have a static port forward rule, it will show up here as well. I just want to highlight the easiness of creating subnets and VLANs with this router. So if I go to my settings LAN page, this is the LAN interface. So I can see all my LAN ports. I can give them names. By default, everything is auto, but I can force a speed if I want to. But let's say this is my default subnet, 1.1. I want to create, I want to add a new subnet. I can create, usually it's very recommended to have a subnet to VLAN pairing or mapping. So each subnet has its own VLAN, each VLAN has its own subnet. in order to just simplify the setup and enable inter-VLAN routing. So I typed in VLAN ID 10, and you can see automatically it picked up the gateway to be 10.1 and automatically gave it a name which is default to. So I can change the name to be test. DHCP is none. I can change the DHCP server mode. You have your default range, which is 50 IP addresses that you can change. DNS is by default it's proxy, so the router will be the DNS for those clients, but you can override it and have the router relay the ISP DNS, or you can give it a static DNS if you want to do the Google one like 8.8.8. But I'll do a proxy. So when I hit apply, hit confirm, make sure that interface on your end is catching up. All right, so you can see that it was created. I created a VLAN 10 with subnet 10.1, and that one, if you go to advanced VLAN, you can see it's automatically created under the VLAN setting. So the VLAN ID carries over, the name carries over. All I have to do is assign it to certain ports as tagged or untagged, do some route bounding or do device management. So we try to make it very easy for the tech to install advanced networks in a quick amount of time and very seamless manner. Port forwarding is one of the biggest items that you guys talk about. So this is my port forwarding rule that forwards my WAN connection to my access point management interface. So having a port forwarding rule is very easy to use. You can just click add TCP, UDP, or both. So if you don't know, just pick both and just give an IP address on the inside. So I'll give 128.1.3, an internal port, which is, for example, 23. Oops. I'll say 8080. Internal port, I give it 9000, and do a test, hit apply, confirm, done. So now I open, if I connect through port 9000 on the wire interface, I go to the IP 192.168.1.3 on port 8080 on that IP address. Same thing for the DNS. You can see you can opinion and also gives a lot of ease and support. And IPsec is going to be supported through client to gateway or gateway to gateway. And those products, like I said in the beginning of the presentation, we just an overview. We will do more technical dive-ins and how-tos for each of those features. We recognize it's a lot of details and a lot of information there and a lot of appetite for more information. So with that being said, we start the fifth poll, which I think is the final poll for us for the routers. So I think we'll start the poll very soon. Here we go. So attention, so the 300 series router is kind of like the performance level midway product. What next do you like to see from us? Do you like to see a lower end product or a higher end product? So do you want to have less features and performance at a budget, or do you want a higher end product with more features, higher performance, and more or more cost? But or you can select both. It's a multiple choice. I'll give you a couple minutes. and see the results. Nice. I like it. So unfortunately, we haven't started developing yet, but your voice is heard loud and clear. We will start working on a higher end router. So to recap, what is the advantage of Araknis? So we offer a full line that just works. It's very reliable. It's very performance oriented product line. Spent a lot of time to make it very installer friendly, make the GUI very easy and seamless. All the line is OVRC enabled except for the unmanaged switches. With that being said, we have a lot of exciting offers going through SnapAV as of today. So we have a kit that you can log into your SnapAV account and buy a router, a 308 PoE switch, and 3 access point kit. It's very aggressively priced. It's very competitively priced. I don't think that there's any other offer in the market that matches this offer. And for those of you who are not aware of Holy Snap program, so Holy Snap has been launched since the beginning of August. You get a lot of points for just doing your normal business, and then you can redeem your points by the end of the program, by the end of the year, with a lot of cool stuff, start with Apple Watch all the way to a Jaguar car. With Araknis, you can, once you buy, if you haven't bought Araknis before and you start buying Araknis now, you get double points for each dollar. So each dollar you spend on Araknis, you get 2 points. And you can quickly come to your target and match your target. Just a quick excerpt of a lot of positive feedback that we've been hearing from you guys. We really appreciate all the feedback and posting on forums, posting on product reviews, sending us emails, and calling us directly. We feel your energy, and we feed on your energy to make our products very good and reliable. Now, the last thing I want to show and demo is OVRC. We talked about OVRC a lot, so I'm going to go through a quick demo of OVRC platform. And I'm going to hijack Aaron Usterbahn, who's the product manager for OVRC. I'm going to hijack his account. So basically, I'm logging in as a dealer now. And as a dealer, I have a list of customers, and these are all jobs or customers that I have in my database. So they are alphabetically ordered. I can go and log into Aaron's account, and here on the top left drop down, these are his jobs, all different racks or different locations. So I'm doing the demo rack currently. This is kind of the beta rack that we have, so we see a lot of things here that are not in production yet. But I will start with the. You can see there's a list of online devices versus offline devices. And you can see by the color here that they are all online because they're all blue, and each one has its own icon. So you can see there's a router, there's a Luma NVR, we got our 16 PoE switch, watt box, wirepath cameras, a lot of things in development. But I'll take the 8 PoE switch here, for example, 16 PoE switch here, for example. So you can see all the IP addresses, you can see their vendors. And if there's a firmware update, you can quickly just click on this icon and we'll just push a firmware update to that device remotely. So it's just a click of a button, you can do remote firmware update, and you're good to go. So I'll click on the 16 PoE, and once you log into the 16 PoE device view, you got two things. You got a detailed view and you got kind of like an aggregated view. If I click on the aggregated view here, you can see that my ports are laid down for me. If it's gray, it's disconnected or it's offline. If it's blue, it's online, it's connected. If it's blue and has this little Thunderbolt, it means it's PoE port. And I can go back to my detailed view and then see. I can read the device name or the port name itself. I can see what the link speed on each port, what the duplex on each port, what's the PoE consumption for the PoE ports per port. I can turn off PoE completely, or I can reset PoE with one click of a button. So back to our scenario when if Aaron called me, I'm his dealer, and told me, hey, my camera is locked up, needs to be rebooted, I can log into his PoE switch and go to port 3, for example, and hit reset. Also, you can see that the PoE budget utilization for the device itself is being displayed. And also, so this way you can manage your PoE budget and see what's going on with the device itself. This is the web version that we're showing. There's a mobile app and that supports both iOS and Android, and a tablet app that goes on also iOS and Android devices. From an integration perspective, like I said, we can go to a port level, change link speed, change duplex mode, and put a cap on PoE allocation if I want to. Everything is out of the box, so normally I would not do that. So if I want to do, just go hit test and put save. It's done. I go back to details. Now the port number 2 is now test. You can see from the activity monitors, you can get some notifications and some events that are happening. The good thing, the cool thing about OVRC, I can go to more. I can access the local UI of that switch remotely. So all I have to do is click here and see, hey, I'm remote. And OVRC will automatically open up a window when it works. Sorry. So this is a beta rack. It has a lot of bugs. And same thing when you go back to demo rack. You can see the router. I can log in the router. You can see the firmware version. I can see the model number. A lot of features are coming soon. So in the next couple of months, you'll see firmware updates and rollouts of features that makes OVRC even more meaningful on the router side. So I can go and change the IP setting of that router from DHCP now. Give it a static IP if you're a static IP guy. Quickly give it an IP and go through it. Same thing for the access points. If I can scroll down to my access points here, click on one of them. See those histograms and those features are coming very, very soon. I can go to the configure side, back to the out-of-box installation. I can change its IP address. It's DHCP now. Give it a static IP and give it a name and call it a day. So that's quickly what OVRC is going to do for you. There will be more follow-up sessions on specifically for OVRC and what can you do with OVRC, what you can't do with OVRC. But it's just that platform that supports your power products through Wattbox, your surveillance products through Numa and Wirepath surveillance, and your networking products through Araknis. And last but not least, we're super excited to be CEDIA this year. We'll be in Dallas, Snap AV booth 2110. We will unveil our new access points and new line switches and more exciting things. You can visit us at www.araknisnetworks.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Araknis Networks. You can send us any information and suggestions. Anything that you need from us, just send us an email to info@araknisnetwork.com. You guys saw that there was a $50 coupon. There will be a follow-up survey for that. So we'll send you a survey, follow-up to the webinar, a quick questions at the end of it. You get your coupon code and you can redeem it by calling Snap AV. And with that being said, I'll turn it on to Heidi for some Q&A.
All right, thanks, Mehiam. That was great. Looks like we have a few minutes for questions. And just as a reminder, everyone, you can submit your questions to the question and answer panel on the right side of your screen. And we have received a bunch, so we won't be able to get to them all today, but I'll try to ask some most common questions. All right, let's get started. When will the AC WAP be available?
Great question. So the AC WAP, what we will show at CEDIA is going to be the beta version of the AC WAP, and we're targeting end of the year release. So end of 2015, the latest January 2016, those will be ready for mass production.
All right, great. Do you expect to provide an outdoor WAP, and if so, when?
Also another great question. So we will do an outdoor version of the access points. Actually, we'll have two models. Those will be a bit further, so I think it will be end of Q1 2016, beginning of Q2 2016, so targeting March, April timeframe.
Okay, and how much real-world testing has been performed on the new hardware and software in the Araknis line? Can you speak about that for us?
Great question. A lot of real-world testing. So just to give you an idea, we have a pool of about 50 beta sites that we pull from. Those beta sites are, for each product they are surveyed, and we ask about their setup, their environment, what kind of control systems they have, what kind of network that they have. Those are dealers like yourselves. They get the beta product, they put it into its spaces, real-world application, and they give us feedback. On top of that, we have internal beta sites. So we have SnapAV employees who have big enough houses that represent the average consumer house, and they have a lot of products and stuff in there. So we definitely send our products during our beta process to them, and they have them installed and use it in their daily life. So those employees' wives or spouses, they use it, their kids, they use the systems and make sure that everything's being used. So very extensive beta process. We understand that we don't catch usually everything because there's a lot of gizmos out there, but we try to catch the 90-95% of those applications.
Okay, great. Here's another good one. Could you talk a little more about how the multi-WAP handoff will work? Will they need to buy a separate controller to automate the handoff process?
Super important question. It's a very deep topic. I'll answer quickly to the question, but there will be a follow-up blog and probably a video to explain what we've done. So what we will do is, with a new firmware update that we're testing, actually we finished testing, we'll release in a couple of weeks, we added support to two protocols. One of them is 802.11r, and the other one is 802.11k. Just for reference point, those two protocols are supported by Apple on both the access point side and the client side. And those two protocols will enhance the handoff performance tremendously. And what we found out is that by supporting those two protocols, you do not need a controller. So the quick answer is that we will not do a separate controller, and you will get a multi-WAP handoff performance via firmware update.
Okay, thanks. Another question about OVRC. Is there a licensing fee for accessing the cloud management configuration? And how do you sign up for OVRC?
So OVRC, everything that you saw through OVRC is free. You just go to OVRC.com, and there's a sign-up process there, and it's very intuitive and self-explanatory. But everything you see now is free, and I think it will remain free.
Great. Will the access points be able to be configured via Apple MacBooks? And currently, they can only configure them through a Windows laptop.
I'm pretty sure that I use my Mac Mini to configure my access point. But if you have any problems that you saw through your testing or your setup through Apple devices, please send us an email. And we'll go through it. Sometimes what we found out is a lot of times people don't clear their cache for Safari or Chrome, and they see some buggy interface. So I would just encourage you to clear your cache on the browser and just start from scratch. But I use Apple. We use Apple heavily in our setup and in testing.
Okay. How soon will DHCP reservation and port forwarding be enabled?
Already enabled. So out of the gate with the 300 series routers, DHCP reservation can be done in two locations. Either you go to the client table and click DHCP reservation quickly, or there's on the LAN settings a table for DHCP reservation. Port forwarding, maybe the dealer who asked is not caught up with the presentation, but we demoed port forwarding in our presentation here, so it's already supported under settings.
Okay. Next question: Do the routers supported content filtering? Do the routers support content filtering? And do you use managed switch for that feature?
To first question, yes, we do content filtering. Probably needs to be enhanced, but we do. So HTTP traffic, you can do URL, you can do keyword content filtering. We found a bug that we will fix later, that if you block, for example, Facebook.com and the user does HTTPS Facebook.com, they can access Facebook. But that's a bug that we will fix. You do not need any sort of managed switches for that. This is on a router level. It's handled through the router.
Okay. We've got some questions about people interested in becoming a beta tester. Can you talk about the process for becoming a beta tester?
Well, we're very happy to have those guys over. So the process is very simple. You saw the emails, info@araknisnetworks.com. Send us an email. I'll get a copy of the email, forward to one of my product managers, and you'll be on the list. So you'll be contacted when we have another product in the pipeline to be beta tested. And basically, we do a quick qualitative conversation with you, just ask you about your setup, what is your normal setup, and how you want to test the product. And if you are on the candidate list, you get a survey, a quick survey prior to the beta site, just to talk more qualitatively about what you're going to test and what you have in your network. And then because a lot of guys who are beta sites, we have to pick probably 10 or 20 beta for each product. If you are a finalist, you get an email that, hey, you've been a finalist, you get a free product, and you get a set of instructions that you do, and it's usually a 3 to 4 week process to do beta testing. But the more feedback you give us, quality feedback, the better you'll be on the list. So currently we have about 5 to 7 guys who are automatically beta tested for any product because they've been phenomenal in their feedback.
Okay, and here's another OVRC-related question. Is there anything being developed to allow a client or an end user to have an OVRC login to reboot or make changes like a dealer can?
I would encourage the dealer who asked the question to go to CEDIA this year to find out the answer.
All right. Can the WAN port on the router be changed to a LAN port?
The answer is no. The 4 LAN are dedicated LAN interfaces. The 2 WAN are dedicated WAN interfaces. You can use the second WAN port as a DMZ port if you want to use it in a LAN kind of environment, but it's not a dedicated LAN port, unfortunately.
Okay. Can we wirelessly extend a wireless network?
Currently in production firmware, no, but with the new firmware coming up in a couple of weeks, we will support a repeater mode on each radio. So you can, if you have a 300 series access point, you can go to your 5 gig radio and change the operation mode from access point to repeater, and basically you are extending the network wirelessly on that radio.
All right, let's just take a couple more questions. Does the router support multicasting for IPTV applications?
Yes, the answer is quick.
All right, let's find another good one. How far off is the WAP handshake model?
It's not a separate model, it's just a firmware update. So the firmware update, I would expect it to be within 30 days in production. But you will get notification, you'll find an OVRC, we will do some communication about that very, very important feature.
Okay. For our clients with only slow ISP options, how well does using load balancing on the router improve service by connecting to low bandwidth providers?
I'm not sure I'm following the question. I think they're asking if they can bind 2 ISP connections from the same ISP. I don't think that this is a solution for you. So there are solutions out there that they do WAN bounding, and Peplink is a company that jumps into my head, that they do support WAM bonding for those applications. This is a very special use case, in my opinion, and you need specialized solution. But I direct it to Peplink that jumps into my head that has that solution. But unfortunately, our router does not.
Great, thanks for that. Maybe one more question on the deadline. Do you plan on providing an option for the color LED on the rack-mounted switches? For instance, will they be configurable as blue?
Also, I defer to go to CEDIA this year. It's going to be a very exciting CEDIA this year. But thanks for the feedback, yes.
And just to follow up on that, we're at booth 2110, so definitely stop by. And that's about all the time we have today. Please look for a follow-up email within the next couple of days. That's going to include your $50 off coupon, go towards your next Araknis purchase. And we'll also have a link to view a recording of today's webinar. And as you're exiting the webinar, please take a minute to fill out our quick 3-question survey. That will be really helpful for us to know how you felt about this session and what other topics you'd like to hear from us in the future. And on behalf of Araknis Networks and Snap AV, thanks for taking the time to join us. Have a great day and happy installing.
Thank you, guys.